Let me begin this rant on how to fix free trade deals by first describing what's good about them. Free trade between two countries, bilateral deals, and more than two countries, multilateral deals, when functioning the right way, open up new markets. In other words, they increase sales for companies and they also create new and often better jobs for people. Thus, free trade, when operating properly, create wealth for everyone. Free trade also greatly reduces rules and regulations that hinder or even stop goods and services from moving easily between or among nations. An added benefit comes when the economies of nations become so intertwined that wars become less likely. Nothing will stop a war more effectively than getting hit hard in the wallet. However, free trade deals can go off the rails, and they have, especially when you look at the Trans-Pacific Partnership that has been beaten up so badly it is unlikely to be resuscitated. There are two main problems with current free trade deals to which I will restrict this rant. One problem is that the provisions of the newest deals have been significantly skewed to the benefit of corporations at the expense of people who buy their products. In other words, you and I. The other problem, and this is a biggie, is that governments who promise to come to the aid of people who lose their jobs or merely have their lives disrupted by free trade deals, in actual fact provide little or no assistance to people who are suffering. How are the benefits skewed toward corporations? Consider this. The Trans-Pacific Partnership and other trade deals were written so that the time periods of copyright and patent protection have been extended. What does that have to do with trade, free or otherwise? Absolutely nothing. Why are they there? Big surprise. To increase the profits of businesses such as the pharmaceutical companies at the expense of consumers, who in this case have to wait longer for the release of less expensive generic drugs. Then there's something called investor-state dispute settlement. Sounds complicated? It's supposed to. What it does in reality is give foreign corporations and governments who claim a free trade deal is in some way unfair to them the right to bypass the judicial system in the offending state and go instead to an independent tribunal. And who gets to make up the tribunal? Surprise again. Not you and I, not judges, but members of the business community. What makes this even worse? To date, one of the biggest concerns that has gone to arbitration has been the few and far between programs to assist people who have lost their jobs. Foreign governments and corporations claim that these programs are unfair subsidies of our industry. Imagine that, helping you to tide things over until you find a new job is unfair to big foreign governments and companies. The last thing corporations want to hear is that our governments are actively coming to our aid and that they, the corporations, share that responsibility. Corporations can move their operations to a country where wages are lower and regulations are virtually non-existent. They rip out and move their equipment and fire their employees, and all they have to say is, "We're sorry about that, goodbye." Even though they themselves got subsidies from our government to set up operations here. What should happen is that, given the increase in profits they will experience by moving to these countries where their wages are lower and other expenses are also lower, is that they should be required to pay a minimum of $25,000 directly to each employee and an absolute minimum of $25,000 per employee to government for the joint funding of programs to set up new sources of employment in the affected areas. Structuring free trade deals to skew benefits to corporations and to ignore or even stonewall programs that assist people who lose their jobs are nothing less than injustices. And these injustices have to be addressed. They haven't so far. No wonder there is a grassroots populist uprising against free trade that is so strong and widespread that it's starting to throw governments out of office. The concessions to corporations I've described in this rant have no business being in a bilateral or multilateral trade deal. They benefit corporations at your expense. If governments do not remedy this situation, if they do not create a level playing field for corporations and people when negotiating free trade deals, then, just as it has happened elsewhere in the world, an angry electorate will find its voice by voting them out of office. My name is Bill Cutler. I am not a socialist or a radical. I believe in fair play. I believe corporations, people, and nations must share new wealth equally. That's what makes me Canadian. Thank you for listening, and take care.